Yeah, dear newcomers of the school, actually I am feeling very sorry that I was unable to welcome you in this pandemic situation. Still, every day you are looking me, you are seeing me and I am seeing you as well. Your classes are going on smoothly, you are doing well. I am very happy, maybe hectic but very happy for you all. Today your next class will be taught by one of our evaluator of grade 12 examination. She will be teaching you biology, Subhasri ma'am. Ma'am, good morning, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Very good. How you are enjoying your classes?
Not so good, sir. But
Why?
Because virtually it is not possible to interact with them, with my students.
You know, all of my students are very smart, very energetic students are there. Out of all those students, 11, 12 students are more than 90%. Teach them well. So, Subhasri ma'am will be teaching you today about morphology of flowering plants. Students, read properly about the flowers, but don't pluck the flowers or don't give rose to anyone. It will look nice if it will be on tree itself. Ma'am will be teaching you about the root, stem, leaves, all those things, no?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Continue the class, enjoy the class. I will see you after the class immediately. Thank you ma'am. Please continue.
So my topic for today is morphology of angiosperms. So first we should define what is angiosperm and what is morphology deals with. Morpho word means structure dealing with the external structure parts of a plant or animal, and logy means study. So in morphology of flowering plants we will study about the different parts which defines that it is a angiospermic plant. So what is angiosperms? Those plants which bear flower is known as angiospermic plants. And we know that the surface of earth is a rich source of biodiversity. What do you mean by biodiversity? Biodiversity deals with the number of plants or animals who are different from morphological point of view. So in morphology of flowering plants we will start with a plant. So let me show you an plant. So in this plant you see what are the structures are present. First, the root is present. It is present beneath the soil. And why it is important? Why it plays a vital role in our plant life? Because it absorbs the necessary nutrients from the soil. So that's why root, then stem, then leaves and flowers. These are the four important parts of a plant. So and root can be of three types. Root can be of three types. One is your taproot system, one is your taproot, then fibrous root and adventitious root. First, see, this is the example of a carrot. So in this carrot you must have seen carrot or radish. So in that you will find small secondary roots are emerging. So what is primary and secondary root? See, in case of carrot this is the primary root. Why? Because this is the first root, or it is the first root. From this small roots are emerged, and from it if other small roots are fiber like projections are emerged from the secondary root is known as tertiary root. This is your secondary root and this is your primary root. So in this structure in this plant you can observe that this is your taproot system, this is your taproot, this is your primary root, this is the primary root, this is the secondary root. Small fiber like projections which are been observed, these are known as your tertiary root. So primary root, secondary root, and this is your tertiary root. And what is fibrous root? For example, if you will see the this is the difference between a monocot flower plant and a dicot plant. In case of your monocot, fiber like bunch shaped roots are been emerged. All the roots are of same size. You will observe it in case of your grass, in case of your rice, that is your Oryza sativa, you will find this bunch like structures will be arise from the stem. All the roots are of same size. So, this kind of root is otherwise known as your fibrous root because they are fiber like in appearance. Last one is your adventitious root. Those roots which are been modified to perform other activities like storage. In case of your carrot or in case of your radish, the root is modified to provide nutrients. So, that is a storage root. In case of your banyan tree, those stems are modified to form the roots which provide support to the plant. So, that is in case of your, that is otherwise known as your prop root. So, that is a kind of adventitious root. These are the three types of root. Then we will come to the stem. Stem is having two parts. One is your node, other one is known as internode. For example, this is a plant. This main axis is known as stem. So, from that axis nodes are coming out. The point from where other branches are arising is known as node. From the node you see other part of the plants are been leaves or branches, small branches are been arising, which makes an angle to the main plant or which makes an angle to the main axis. This is known as internode. Then last one comes the most important part, that is your flower. And leaf is also, leaf can be of two types. One is your simple leaf, another one is your compound leaf. What do you mean by simple leaf? If a node is having a single leaf, this is known as your simple leaf. Whereas if the leaf is been divided, for example, in case of your tamarind, in case of your curry leaves, so in this case the main leaf is been divided into number of leaflets. So this is known as your compound leaf. Whereas in case of your hibiscus, you will find a simple leaf is there, only a single leaf is there. If the leaf is been divided into number of leaflets, that is known as your compound leaf. Compound leaf can be of two types. One is your pinnately compound, another one is your palmately compound. Palm structure, palm word itself derives that it shows like a palm. For example, in case of your papaya plant, you must have seen a papaya plant. So the leaves you might have seen, all the leaflets are been connected at the center, or all the leaflets are been connected at a single point. For example, see the structure is like, this is the structure of a palmately compound leaf. Palmately compound leaf. Whereas in case of your tamarind or in case of your curry leaves, this is the structure. This is the structure. So the leaf is been divided into number of leaflets. It can be again of two types. One is your alternate, another one is your composite. If they are residing just against each other, if leaves are there, then that is known as your alternate leaf. So this is all about the leaf, but the very important part is about your flower. Why flower is otherwise known as modified shoot, or it is known as very important organ of a plant? Because through flower we can divide the plants into a certain family. For example, all of you are having our titles like whatever, mine is Samal. So we, according to that, we can define it into some family. So the parts of the flower can be, first one is your calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. First one is your calyx. So the green, see in case of this hibiscus flower, the green colored portion, which is somewhat leaf like in nature, which holds the flower in bud condition or it supports the flower, is known as your calyx. Then come an individual unit, each of this individual unit of calyx is known as sepal, sepal. Then comes to the corolla. The corolla is always brightly colored. Why? Because it will attract the pollinating agents. So that's why corolla is colorful in nature. Then comes to the gynoecium and androecium. Androecium represents a male reproductive part of a flower, whereas gynoecium represents a female reproductive part of a flower. In case of your hibiscus, you will observe small yellow colored dotted structures will be there, which are held through the style by a filament, by a stalk like structure known as filament. Whereas these yellow colored structures are known as anthers. And anthers contain pollen grains. Within a single anther, 1,000 million number of pollen grains are present. Those pollen grains, when resides over the stigma of a same flower or some other flower, that will help in the pollination process. And this is your at the top or at the peak, stigma is present. Through stigma, the pollen grains will reach to the ovary, where they can have the fertilization process. So this is all about the flower. This is all about the parts of the flower. Then we will study the conditions of ovary. The conditions of ovary can be of three types: hypogynous condition, perigynous condition, and epigynous condition. Word itself, hypo, defines below the ovary. So first one represents below the ovary. The structure is somewhat similar to that of your hibiscus. In hibiscus, we are observing the calyx is there, over that ovary is there, and over that filament is there, stigma is present at the top. So this condition is represents your hypogynous condition. For example, see, we are having chili flower here. So in this chili flower, see, either in this case also, the flower, the ovary, in case of your hibiscus, the ovary is present at the base, the calyx, corolla is present below the ovary. In this condition, the ovary is superior in nature. In perigynous condition, example is your rose. You must have seen the rose flower. In case of your perigynous condition, the label of calyx and corolla along with the condition of ovary sustains in a same position. So that is known as your perigynous condition. Example is your rose. And in epigynous condition, what happens? The ovary, see, this is the thalamus. What is thalamus? The thalamus holds the flower. So in this thalamus, within that thalamus, the ovary is present. Ovules are present within that ovary. Above that, calyx is present, which holds the flower. Petals are present or corolla is present above the flower. So here the condition is known as inferior ovary. Epigynous condition, inferior ovary. So this is all about the conditions, three conditions of ovary, which you will observe in this flower, in marigold flower. If you will dissect it like this, the last one, the green color leaf like structures are known as your calyx. These are your corolla, and you see within that thalamus the anthers and stamens are present. So it represents the last one, that is your epigynous condition. With this I am finishing summing up my topic today, and in the next class we will study about the parts of the calyx. And exam homework for today is write the 3 conditions of ovary with examples. Thank you.